Welcome to Unit 20 of the TESOL course at Southern Utah University. This video focuses on TESOL professional development. The goal is to help you continue developing as a teacher beyond this course. We'll talk about a few reasons why you should continue developing as a teacher, and then we'll give an overview of different areas where you can make these kinds of improvements. When we think about why teachers should develop professionally, we need to keep in mind that in some cases teaching can be a very isolating job. It's generally a teacher in a classroom with a bunch of students all day, and we don't get as much interaction with our peers. So teachers, in order to feel motivated and appreciated and to avoid burnout, need to look for opportunities to feel fulfilled in their job and refreshed. And teacher development is a good way to do that when teachers have some choice and freedom about what kinds of ways that they want to improve. So that's the main reason that we want to do improvement. We want teachers to feel comfortable enough to become experts at what they do. And in order to do that, they need to stay in their job and not abandon it because of burnout or because it's boring. So teacher development helps keep them engaged but also supported so that they can stick with it and become a real leader. Teaching is one of the ways that we can improve as a teacher. And what we mean by this is sometimes it's really helpful to teach the same class again. Because what we can do now is look at what we did previously and look at making some improvements. So that's a really important thing to do, is to teach a class more than once, because that gives us the opportunity to maybe fix some of the things that we felt like we didn't do so good the first time around. At the same time, teachers shouldn't be afraid to try a new class. We need to be realistic in our time and our expectations. It's always a lot of work to prepare for a new class. But there's a lot of benefits that come from doing that, because we learn new skills, and then that can influence us in other classes we teach, where we can start seeing English from other points of view, other skill sets, or other levels of proficiency. Another great thing about being a teacher is that we can conduct action research in our classroom. If we have questions about how do people learn English, or what's the best way to teach, we can design a little study in our classroom where maybe we give different approaches, or we solicit feedback from students about how they feel about different assessment tools we're using. We can have a question and try to answer it with our classroom. And that can be a great way to keep us motivated, but also help us to better understand how to be better at teaching. Another method for improvement is through reflection. Some teachers are really good at keeping a teaching journal where they reflect on how well their lessons went, or what did they learn this semester, and what will they do in the next school year. Some teachers do this rather than through a formal teaching journal. They just do it on their lesson plan. So they have a printed lesson plan that they always take to class, and then they make marks on that lesson plan about what went well, or where they needed more time, or what part of the lesson they should remove or move to a different session. So that can be a great way to reflect on your experiences, having that record of your lesson plans where you can go back and make changes and improvements. Another way to reflect on your teaching experience is to get students to help you with that, having course evaluations. Many programs, this is a requirement or a built-in part of the system. If it's not, it's something you may want to reach out to your students and give them time in class to give maybe anonymous student feedback. Some teachers will switch classes with another teacher and with a set of questions that the original teacher has posed, so that they can get some good, honest feedback about what went well in the class and what could be possible to make it better. Another way to reflect is to record yourself teaching and then watch the recording. This can be really hard. Sometimes it's hard to watch ourselves and notice all these things about our voice and our mannerisms and the way we move in the classroom. But it can be very revealing to help us understand where our focus is and how we use time appropriately. Even though it can be a little bit intimidating, it's really valuable to record yourself as a teacher sometimes, and then look at yourself and critique yourself. Giving service is another way to develop professionally. You could serve on committees. These could be committees within your organization. Maybe you have to select a new textbook and then you want to participate in that committee that makes that evaluation. Or maybe it's a committee that's going to develop new materials. If not, you can develop new materials for your own classroom. And that process of developing those materials will help you to better understand and question what it is your students really need. And that will make you then a better teacher. You may be able to volunteer with professionals associations or with other groups in your school that allow you to see the educational experience of your students beyond what the way that you deal with them in your own classroom. And of course, you may want to participate in mentoring. Many new teachers are automatically assigned a mentor. In the future, you could become a teacher mentor and help out a new teacher. Even if you're not in either of those situations, you can reach out to other teachers for peer mentoring, where you say, let's observe each other a couple times during the semester. I have some questions I'd like to answer about my own teaching, and I'm happy to help you do the same with yours. We learn so much when we observe other teachers and see how they do it, and we can get lots of ideas that then we can apply to our own classroom. When we talk about literature in an academic sense, what we're talking about is books, articles, periodicals, things that help us better understand teaching. So we may want to read teacher magazines. The TESOL organization puts out a few, so does the ACTFL organization and others. We may want to review research journals. So if you're connected to a university, you should have access to at least some teacher research journals, such as TESOL Quarterly. And these are great sources of understanding a little bit more about what researchers say about good and effective teaching practices. You could also volunteer to write art reviews, book reviews, product reviews, website reviews, or other articles for different teacher periodicals. And there's lots of teacher development books. It's a great idea to get a book and maybe do a book group with teachers where you all read together and share your ideas. Or you each have different books, but you teach each other about what you've read through those books. You can pursue further education. For example, get an advanced degree in your field at some point. You can participate in workshops and seminars that are offered to teachers. For example, teachers in our institution will be taking a workshop in the spring on ACTFL and learning more about the proficiency guidelines and how we can connect that to our assessment and teaching on campus. You can go and attend academic and professional conferences. Some of them are very general, and so they have topics that cover a wide variety of teaching issues. You can go to a more specialized conference that focuses maybe just on reading or writing, or focuses on other issues related to the English language field. And lastly, you could do more to interact with others, such as joining professional organizations like TESOL or regional affiliates. For example, in Utah, TESOL professionals can join the iTESOL or Intermountain TESOL professional organization. And they have an annual conference. They have email discussions and other events that help you connect with teachers at other institutions so you can learn more about how their ideas might positively impact your campus and your classroom. You can sign up to participate in email and discussion groups that focus on the field of TESOL. You could also, in your local area, start a professional learning community where you regularly meet with other teachers to discuss topics or just to vent and share ideas, frustrations, and successes about what it's like to be a classroom teacher and how you want to make that a better experience. So it's definitely important to not view this course as the end of your TESOL learning, but to view yourself as a lifelong learner in the field of TESOL. And there are a variety of different sources that you can tap into in order to keep developing professionally.